2,235 pounds, a Palomino version of a Rockwood A-frame coming in here called an A12ST, which I guess means A-frame 12-foot box storage trunk edition. Super late model. The folks like camping. They just decided this wasn't their style of camping, and they swapped this out for a 19-foot single-axle Jayco fully enclosed travel trailer. So they just didn't enjoy the folding camper concept so much. So what you're looking at, late model, barely used, and potentially same as new financing available as a result. Those are good things. Now, Palomino builds quite a few, well, I mean, they build trailers and fifth wheels, but they build quite a few truck campers. That's a lot of what they do. And a lot of that knowledge and expertise kind of went into these things. And I can see some parallels you'll hear me reference now and then. Now, little things I want to point out, like if you look at the seating, you can see how it's not all broke down and smashed down and compressed. It just wasn't used a whole heck of a lot. It's not old enough to really have done that. But it's gone through a nice shakedown period, so you're not inheriting someone else's problems. Your tabletop and countertop, they're both what's called thermal foil. They're a sealed-edged pressed membrane. And this is where some of that truck camper knowledge comes into play, is right here in this mini kitchenette. The recessed, like, tempered glass top sink and stove covers you're looking at here maximize potential prep space while still offering a 3-burner cooktop and a decent sink, a pretty fair-sized sink, actually, in this thing that otherwise you would lose. Now, what's nice is because, let's say you accidentally forgot these things were up. Because they have that hinge and fold down, they would basically get flopped down into place, and you really can't break those things. Now, up front here, we've obviously got this freestanding table, which could be, it's very nice for folks like me, who maybe I'm a little bit bigger on the midsection than I need to be, but I don't think I'm alone in that regard, and I can kind of cheat the table over toward my wife and kiddo. What's nice about this, too, is it can fold down into a sleeping space, as you see here, and it becomes like a 7-foot-long bed. An adult can comfortably sleep on something that size. Now, another little side benefit that's kind of cool is because the table's freestanding, you can fold it down and take it right out that door. The skylights you'll find here do have, well, first of all, on the, like, we can see outside of these things. Like, it's not hard to see outside of them, but you really can't see into them. They obviously need a little quick surface cleaning, but again, not being used is one of the reasons this camper was here. They're very deep. They're deceptively deep, so you can sit 4 people at this dinette. A grown guy like me, 6 foot tall, I can sit against that wall. Your head's in the bubble a little bit, but it's not uncomfortable. It's really intelligent how they have everything done, designed, and placed here. We do have LED lighting. Let's see if we got some battery power. Woo! Let there be light. That's a good sign. That means that the folks, even though they weren't using the camper, they still kept the battery tended. That's a huge confidence builder for me as someone who sees campers all the time, because they didn't just let it sit unattended. Even though they weren't using the camper a lot, they still attended to it. Yeah, okay. This is all I really needed to see to know they really didn't use it much. This is your big Max Air vent fan. So this is a 12-volt fan, meaning battery power, and the mesh is all cleaned. I mean, this is just never used, guys. That's just fantastic. Now, down here below this bench, real quick, let me circle back. I'm sorry. There is storage below that bench right there, and you can see the access door, or you could remove the cushions to get to it from the top. There is not storage below this bench, because if you look down here, we've got, like, the furnace. There's water heater probably located under there. You can see it from the outside. So, no storage under that one. That's where your systems might be located. Over here, we've got our 3-way refrigerator. It is 12-volt, 110 park power, and propane. In English, that means cold, colder, coldest. And I really like the very streamlined, in a way it's like a master control panel right over here. Very well executed. Minimalist, but easy to reach and effective. Down here, this is the Dometic Cool Cat. It is a bi-directional heat pump. So it's either an electric heater or an electric air conditioner. Depends on what you want to do with it. It'll work anywhere from something, I don't remember the hard numbers, but it's something like 36 degrees, like 102 or something like that. It works very well. Being 7 foot wide with an east-west bed, one of the benefits here is that you do get a nice longer bed. So this is an 80-inch long bed, very suitable for a tall person like me. Now, if you are the one who's sleeping on the inside of the bed, so you don't feel like, you know, you're encased in a coffin, you can open that skylight up at night. And what's kind of cool is you're just sort of staring up at the stars, and you really have, like, the best seat in the house. And because the skylights are so heavily tinted outside, nobody can look at you. But if it's a day like today, it's a big, hot, sunny day, and you really need to keep the sun out of this thing, draw that shade, and there you go. And suddenly you're going to block so much sun and heat and solar radiation from this thing, it's not even funny. Now our windows will open for cross breezes on these goofy triangular shaped windows, if you will. More of that sealed edge countertop stuff, and this is where this thing starts to really define itself as something of a folding travel trailer as compared to just a pop-up camper. Pop-ups don't usually have things like a microwave and stuff like we're looking at here, or an air conditioner. Well, this is kind of, it's a folding camper. It is technically a pop-up, but it really has more of the equipment features of a travel trailer, sans bathroom, if you will. Now, Bluetooth stereo system over here, and what's nice is if you get the, I think it's called the J Control app, you can actually Bluetooth music and control this wirelessly right from your phone, which is pretty slick. And you've got handy little USB chargers for things like phones and devices over here, so that, you know, when you are at the campsite but you don't want your phone in your pocket constantly, you can just leave it here charging by the door, playing your favorite music, and sit outside listening to your music outdoors, having a heck of a time. Overall, I am impressed with the shape and the condition of this. This does appear to be well maintained, though not very used. And those are two things that don't always go together. A lot of times when people don't use a camper, they just ignore it. That doesn't appear to be the case here, because like the sidewalls are still cleaned and gleaming. The top, as we saw with those skylights, is a little bit, it just has a little bit of travel dust on it because they had to tow it here. You know, they came from a little ways to work with us, and it just got a little bit of travel dust on her. So the ST, the storage trunk, is this big guy up here. Heavy duty industrial, like diamond plate box constructed thing here. And I love these dual struts to keep that thing open so you don't have to juggle it open with your head. I'm actually really impressed with the execution of this front storage box up here. Like, this has like a spray-on truck bed liner in here, so if you actually look through it, you'll notice it's essentially sealed. I don't know that you would want to, but in theory, you could it could probably function as like a live well if you were fishing, although I don't expect anyone to ever do that. That is heavy duty. That is some rugged stuff up there. Now, the double propane tanks with an automatic changeover regulator, that's another one of those travel trailer features you don't usually get in pop-ups, which again, it helps blur those lines. This is a 7-wide camper, so it's not wider than a common tow vehicle. Anything that is capable of towing this anyway. And that, especially when you fold this down, you just don't get those wicked headwinds. You don't get that sway, that push. These are very good for very limited restriction, like tow restriction vehicles. One of the things that helps benefit that is that even though this is under 2,500 pounds, meaning it is not federally required to have electric brakes, it has electric brakes, because that's just a smart safety item. The type of vehicles that usually are towing one of these are vehicles that have like a 3,000 pound tow rating or maybe less. And, you know, like sometimes people will put these behind like a little Subaru Outback or something like that. And it's kind of approaching the limit of that size vehicle. And that's why you want those electric brakes, because that vehicle is not designed to have an extra 2,000 pounds pushing it through a stop sign. You throw an electric brake controller on your vehicle, and now you're safe and good to go. So a good look at those extra dark skylights. And the spare tire off the back here has, I mean, it's never touched the ground. You can still see the little nubby guys on it on the end here. Little nubs. How you doing, nubs? Overall, these things go up and down very quickly. I think I hold the store record. I've had one, I think, up and down in something like 14 or 15 seconds before. Oh, here's one thing. I was shocked. I don't normally see this on A-frames. This has a full pass-through storage in the back here. This is awesome! Normally you get a decent sized storage pocket here, but you might have to lift the bed up to get to it, which, by the way, you still can do. That bed deck does lift, but it goes all the way through, and that is so cool. It lets you put some big long stuff, and if your cargo shifts, you can get to it from the other side. That was a really smart point of execution. It's pretty much cut and dry. I like the 4-corner stabilizer jacks so that it is nice and sturdy on your campsite. The only thing this thing is missing is an owner. That's it. There's nothing else to say. So with that, give us a call. Take care. Stay safe. Have fun. And happy camping, everyone.